There he goes.
Hey, Ryan, can you hear us all
Ryan.
right? We can't hear you. See, technology.
No, you see what you have to do is you have to click the unmute button. So I want to blame technology, but it turns out it's user error, as is so often the case. So
Good to have you here, Ryan.
yeah, great to be here.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for coming. I had to ask very nicely and go to a bunch of things that he's been asking me to go to.
Yeah, I feel like you didn't ask it that nicely, but yeah.
I said please, and I showed up to like a partner training.
You did. No, you did. No, you're one of my favorites, and you know that. So anything I can do to help.
I feel like I'm pick on y'all and like I'm mean and make y'all do things.
You are very, very mean. This is a true fact.
Neil can attest to that. I'm mean to him too. It's not personal.
Oh yeah, no, I never took it that way.
It does help if I say that to get things done.
Yes, exactly.
Ryan, I guess let you say it because I've talked about it, but let you say about the membership you've built with DM Lab Elite. Your partnership is still kind of like a membership at this point, and even War Room. I got lag.
You got lagged. Yeah, no, I picked up everything you said. No, I mean, what's funny is literally every business pretty much I've ever launched has had some membership component to it. This goes back to, gosh, probably one of my very first products that I ever launched in the marketing space was called nicheology.com, which was a membership site. So I've always been a big believer in the membership model. And really, and when we launched Digital Marketer as a brand, we knew that membership was going to be at the heart of everything that we've done. But I mean, I have memberships in right now in the survival and preparedness space. We have memberships in the beauty space, in the crafting space. So truly, it is at the heart of absolutely everything that we do. And I believe that I believe it's essential. If you're not selling membership, then you're just selling a product, and congratulations, Amazon is your competitor. Good luck with that.
I've never thought about it that way. It kind of sounds like your idea, Neil.
It does, yeah.
A lot of people were saying their number one concern is traffic. They can create the course, they have the knowledge base, but that's the nothing. It's the traffic. How do y'all deal with traffic concerns?
Well, traffic is easy. You can just buy it. Now, I know that doesn't actually answer the question, but today traffic is more readily available than it has ever been. You can buy it from Facebook. You can buy it from Google. You just go to the traffic store. It's like buying soap. The issue is that it can be difficult to acquire that traffic profitably, right? So there is a real answer to my initial sarcastic response. And the way that you need to do that, especially when it comes to membership, is don't sell membership. So one of the hardest things in the world to sell, while I believe everybody should have a membership model, front-ending membership is sort of like front-ending marriage. It's, hey, you're committed. And if you think about some type of membership or some type of subscription offering, what you're basically saying to somebody is, hi, I know you have this problem. We have the solution, but it's going to take a really long time to really get you fixed. And so you're going to need to pay us for, every single month for an indeterminate amount of time. That's a tough sell. That's a really, really, really tough sell. Now, the truth is, in almost every situation in life, it's exactly what people need, right? Think about getting in shape, right? It's not, oh, take this magic pill and you lose weight. It's, you're going to have to join a membership. You're going to have to hire a personal trainer. You're probably going to have to pay them monthly. So anything that's really worth doing in life is going to take a while to do. And that's why membership is a great model. And especially if you're involved in community, that's why it's such a good thing. But it's not what people want. So what you need to do when you're going out acquiring, don't look to acquire members, look to acquire initial buyers, initial customers. So in everything that we've done, we always start with kind of a low ticket entry point offer. So with Digital Marketer, we don't front end Digital Marketer Lab. We say, we have this execution plan. We have this certification. It's $7. It's $95. You can sign up for this live workshop that we're doing. Then after somebody's purchased that, and the key is it needs to be a single standalone offering. I'm not saying go to people and say, we have this thing and you can have it for free when you become a member. That's not as effective as just saying you can have this thing and it's good and it's going to accomplish this one piece of what they want to do. Once you've closed that sale, then it's appropriate to say, all right, now that you have this one thing, you should know it's just one part of this broader ecosystem of products and services that we have. And really, if you want access to everything, I'll give you access to all of it right now. In fact, you can have access to it right now for free as a trial. And that's how you bring members in. It's no different than dating and relationships, right? I mean, you're going to go on some dates. If you want the date, you're probably the one paying for it, no matter if you're male or female. And then eventually you earn the right to ask for more of those. Membership's the same way.
So you've done that. So inside of Digital Marketer Lab, and I think y'all narrowed it down, but it used to have over 60 EPs. Which one, as the portion of the greater Digital Marketer Lab, which one sold the best as the entry point?
Good question. I believe so I know our top three. I can give you our top three. In terms of which one is better, I'm not entirely sure. But one of them is on how to do market research. Another one is the $10 a day traffic plan. So it's all just specific to traffic. And the other one is on the content engine, so how to do content marketing effectively. And I think the reason that this works is these are three things that kind of everybody needs depending on the stage of business that they're in. Now, the ones that people consume the most once they get inside the training are not the ones that sell the best on the front end, which is just proof that people don't buy what they need, they buy what they want. So once people get in, they're like, okay, great. I know how to get traffic, but I don't know where to send it. So some of our execution plans on how to craft a landing page that converts, how to create a lead magnet, which nobody will buy on the front end. One of our worst sellers, and Jen, I know it's one that you're familiar with, it's I think sitting right behind you right now, is an execution plan that we have on the customer value journey, right? Nobody wants to buy that as a plan. No one wants to buy it. They're like, why do I need that? And yet the second that they get in, once you've kind of answered the question, what the big question is, now they say, okay, what do I really need? Where I need to start? And so I like to tell people, you don't earn the right to tell people what they need until you have first answered the question that they have, that lingering question, even if it's a question they shouldn't be asking. You earn the right to tell people what they need when you have given them what they want. So give them what they want and don't judge them for it. You've been in the same place, right? Give them what they want and then say, by the way, now that you have this, I guarantee the next question that you're going to have is, yeah, but where do I send the traffic? And we got something for that too, and you can have it free when you join the membership. So
yep, everyone asks for social, and we actually sell that thing that no one wants to buy for $3,500. So
yeah,
they buy it eventually. So that's kind of the entry point offer. I know you guys also have tested a ton of free lead magnets, and one person is even asking if they should even bother offering anything free. And I was like, yeah, like totally. What have been y'all's best performing free offers that had the best, I would say the best entry to getting people in and also the best long-time customer value?
So they correspond exactly to the entry point offers I just said. So we have a lead magnet on Facebook ad templates that as soon as somebody opts into that, we offer them the execution plan that I just talked about, right? And then we offer them lab. We have a customer avatar worksheet that we give away as a lead magnet that we then upsell, market research execution plan. And then we have I forget which one it is. It's a blog post template or blog post ideas. Something
that was
that we
the one I came in on, 212 blog post ideas.
Yeah, 212 blog post ideas. That goes into content engine, which does that. So, and what's funny is it kind of goes both ways. So oftentimes we'll have a high converting execution plan and we'll splinter out freebies from that. So we know that this is something that people want. It's still an entry point offer. We know it's something people want. Now let's create a smaller area to it. The other thing that we'll do is if something works really well for free, we'll then turn it into a paid entry point offer. The $10 a day traffic plan, which is an execution plan, that actually began life as a blog post, totally open. A totally open blog post. It got a ton of traffic. We said, let's do a webinar on this. We did a webinar. It had some of the highest webinar registration rates that we had seen. So we said, let's just turn this into an execution plan and start selling it, expand upon it, put in some more examples, start selling it. So your paid should inform you're free, and your free should inform your paid.
That's fair. Did you have questions, Neil? I feel like I kind of stole the show.
Wait, did Neil Neil needs to click the mute button too.
I think when we added you on, there's a lag.
It wasn't just
it was me this time. It was me. It was a human error. So what I was saying, Ryan, was that I appreciate you coming on, and I think some of the things that you're sharing are definitely a revelation for myself and a lot of people who are chiming in. I think they absolutely love it. I'm looking at the comments on my phone. They love the things that you're sharing. And one thing that's come up for me often with membership sites that are recurring is that how do you control the churn? How do you give people enough value month after month so they don't go away to your competition, or they just feel like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Yeah, so the reality is, I think that's a good distinction. People generally aren't leaving your membership site to go to a competitor. People are leaving your membership site to go do nothing, especially when you're talking about some type of information or some type of community. There will be people who will join multiple sources of information. It's not like if I have a CRM, I only have one, right? So software has to deal with churn in a slightly different way than membership and communities do. We tried everything when it comes to churn reduction, and there are really two things that we've seen move the needle more than just about anything else. I'll start off with some things that really didn't move the needle that much that we thought would. One of them was sending gifts, so like welcome gifts and things like that. That can be more effective at higher levels. So if
Sure.
you have a service base, that can be effective. We tried that at scale, and it did nothing. But boy, we bought a ton of cookies. We bought a lot of popcorn. We sent a lot of Starbucks gift, and we tried a bunch of stuff, and it didn't matter. People have no problem eating your cookies and canceling your service. They'll do it all day long. I've seen
Now,
them
is
do
that
it.
the same as your box too? Y'all sent like the new boxes with like the membership card and the how to use the lab, or is that didn't work out?
That doesn't count as a gift. So I'll talk about that. So the gifts and some of these things, I see a lot of people talking about that. It sounds good. I think that's why people talk about it. And
You talk about it.
It does work. If I were to close somebody, so Jenna, you have some high ticket customers and those types of things. I think it works at that. So if it's a high ticket, I believe it can work. Even a high ticket product, a high ticket service, we've seen it work for that. Now, when I've talked about it for higher ticket. See, she's being mean again. But the two big things that work better than anything else, one is having clear onboarding in place. And so what that means is when somebody becomes a member for the first time, and we were awful at this at Digital Marketer for the longest time, but when somebody becomes a member for the first time, they need to go through an onboarding process. And sending them some emails is good, but really having video there that they experience as they walk through, having some type of just simple walkthrough, those types of things, because it isn't that they tried it and they didn't like it, they got bored of it, so they left. The problem is they never tried it. So you've got to get them to just start using it, start doing something. So, and kind of a subset of that onboarding is some type of a little victory. You got to get them a quick win. There has to be something that you're building everything around. So for example, at Digital Marketer, we found that if we can get somebody to ask a question in our Facebook group and then they get an answer, they tend to stay for much, much longer. That usually will get us through that initial trial period, right? The people that stay, it is astoundingly rare for somebody who is a trial member to go into our engaged community, ask a question, begin to interact, and still not convert. It's just very rare. So we want to get them in that community. Now, compare that to, we want to get them in and have them consume an execution plan. That would be great if they could do that. The people that do consume more than one execution plan, they tend to stay pretty much forever. Somebody consumes 2 or more execution plans, they're in it to win it.
That's it?
Yeah, 2 or more. They're pretty much in it to win it. Because once you consume 2, you're generally going to consume more. So, but there's a break point. There's lots of people that consume, just 1, and then they don't go anymore. But once you consume 2, now it starts to become a part. Okay, I need to learn this. But if we tried to make it all about consuming an execution plan, it's too hard. It's too much work in the beginning. It's not a little victory. Now, I know Jen is like, that's ridiculous. It's no work at all. Again, you're a weirdo cyborg person, which is what makes you amazing, by the way. It's why you're successful. And for a lot of people, it just takes them a while to get there. So that's step 2. Once we've got them interacting, we then shift this stuff over to, let's get them to consume some execution plans. Let's get them on some office hours. Let's get them to take those types of actions. But you need to know, what is that little victory that delivers that aha moment, right? And for us, that aha moment is, oh my gosh, I've been wondering, I've had this question forever. I ask it in this group. I get an answer, great answer from multiple sources in seconds. Holy crap, where has this been my whole life? They're in. They're absolutely in it. And we have people who've been members, active members inside of our community who haven't logged into the actual lab members area in 6+ months, right? Because for them, they're getting so much value from the community. So the first big thing is that carefully choreographed onboarding that includes that little victory aha moment. And the second thing is what I've been alluding to this whole time, which is community. I think to have membership without community, what you probably have is a product or service that you're just offering on some type of a payment plan, because they're not going to stick around for a long, long, long time. So you need to figure out how you're going to incorporate community in. That could be actual live community. More times than not, it looks like a Facebook group. And at Digital Marketer, thankfully, we invested early on in community, and I think that made all the difference in the world.
And how do you get them to ask that first question? How do you get them to absorb and do the things you want them to do?
Yeah, so it starts off with the emails that go out. So we're sending emails saying, welcome, we're so glad you're here. By the way, do this first. We're being very deliberate about that. To your point about the new member welcome kit, the welcome kit is all geared around getting them to go in and go into the members area, to the point that we're actually redoing our member welcome kit, because the member welcome kit said, here's all the stuff that you have, and it didn't fully emphasize that aha moment. So we're redoing the welcome kit, a new version of it, and it's almost all about going to the community, ask this question. We want all the emphasis there. The new welcome video. So you wouldn't see this, Jeanette, because we can actually send to all of our certified partners. We can send out our onboarding videos. But now when you become a member of Lab, there's an onboarding video that's there. And it's the primary message of the video is get in the Facebook group. It's amazing. Like they log into the members area, and we're trying to get them to leave the members area and go to Facebook, right? Because we know that we want them to experience that aha moment. It's that big of a deal. If they can experience that aha moment, then we earn the right. We answer the question, then we earn the right to encourage them to consume to consume those execution plans. So that's what it's all about.
And, finding this aha moment, did it take you a lot of hit and trial to get there in the end, or did you simply do like discovery calls or survey the people that were jumping in and ask them, which one, when did your aha moment happen, and, what were you doing at that time? Did that give you the insights that you needed?
Yeah, so if I were doing it all over again, I would have done the discovery call that you talked about. I'll tell you what happened. My assumption was that everybody was joining for the content. And that was true. They were joining for the content. They were staying for the community. So believing that they were joining and staying for the content, all of our onboarding was around trying to get them to consume the content, trying to get them to consume the content and get a result. And really it wasn't until we had an event and I was just talking to people, and the theme that kept recurring is over and over again is all they were talking about was the community. And I was like, what about that content we worked so hard to produce? The thing that everybody was talking about was the community. And we were seeing it. And so we actually went and we it took some effort. It took some doing, but we looked at the difference between what is the stick rate after, I think we did over about 9 months. So what's the stick rate? How many people are around 9 months later for the ones who interacted with the community and the ones that never did? And the difference was, I can't remember the numbers offhand, so I don't want to make them up. And the difference was astounding. It was absolutely positively astounding. And then we did a test to see, because at that point you prove correlation, right? We've correlated that people who interact in the community tend to stay longer. Correlation does not equal causation. So now we had to say, let's change our onboarding and make it all about the community. And in doing that, we watched our churn rate just absolutely plummet. I mean, we were at an average monthly churn at, around 10, depending on the level, 10 to 12%, which is high. I mean, that's called, you're basically cycling over your members every 6-7 months. We're now, our churn rates at Digital Marketer Lab look a whole lot like subscription SaaS churn numbers.
Okay.
Because of that community. I don't want to get into what our churn numbers are. Those are some proprietary. I can just give you that's the range. Doing these efforts I've talked about didn't cut them in half. It did way more than that.
Sure. I mean, I can tell everyone that for, an actual SaaS that is doing all right, it's about 2 to 5% annually for churn. So not that those are Ryan's numbers, but I would suspect that over time, that's where you want to get to as an information product-based membership site as well. But one more question. I know Jen is probably hoping to ask another question, but I'll jump in right now. So Ryan, thinking about your certification program, I mean, it's very, very well structured. And I met Matt Basak recently. And I think Matt's working with maybe the same person who helped on your certification program too. So my question to you is, how pivotal was that for Digital Marketing Lab? Did you always have that? Or is it something that came in later because it was much needed?
Yeah, we actually initially launched our certifications outside of Lab. So it was a completely separate, and we began selling them a la carte. And I realized, why am I doing this a la carte? I know that membership and subscription works, so let's have it as a separate membership program. So we had Lab, and then we had HQ, and HQ is all of our certifications. And then what we found is that the two offerings from the outside looking in weren't adequately differentiated. People didn't understand the difference. Like, well, over here, you see there's community and there's these things called execution plans, and like we do some office hours and it's cool. And then over here, it's certification. And the original vision was Lab was for marketer, kind of marketing professionals and individuals, and HQ is more for training marketing teams. What we found is that people who were in HQ, they wanted Lab, and people who were in Lab, they wanted HQ. So we just smacked them together and created a new level of Lab called Lab Plus, creative name, Lab Plus our certifications.
Sure. We
hired a very expensive branding specialist to figure that one out. Not really. We just were like, screw it, let's do this thing. And then later on, we realized people wanted more access to us. They kind of wanted a community within a community. They wanted more live, experiential, kind of facilitated type training. So we're like, how can we do that at scale? That's when Elite was born. And so I would encourage anybody, before you do what I did, which is go out and launch a separate membership site, if it's targeting the same audience, do an additional level of the same membership. Because what you think you're going to gain, because in the beginning we were like, oh, we don't really want to push these things together, because what we're going to basically have to do is, we're going to lose out on the revenue of the people who are in both. And that's true. I mean, we did. We had to, we merged them together and we canceled some subscriptions and went backwards, I think about almost $70,000 in monthly recurring revenue. We got that back the very next month just by having an offer that made freaking sense. So, don't trade having the ability to have these different groups, paying you twice for just having a simplified offering that allows simple ascension within.
I like it. Yeah, go ahead, Jenna. Sorry.
Dennis wanted to know, he said that's exactly what he was thinking this morning, but wanted to know if membership is a never-ending journey, or is it like college? Like, how do you kind of structure it? How long is someone going to be there?
My hope is that they stay around as, forever. So it's not like college where there's an end, right? This is a community. I mean, the Lab community is just that, a community. So as long as somebody is a digital marketer, we hope they hang around with us, and we're going to continue to serve the community. And that's why I think it's so important. If you're launching membership, you really need to be customer centric. And that's a term that's thrown around a lot. But what I mean by that is you define your business not by the product that you sell or the way that you sell it. So you define your business by, we sell this thing, or, we sell this thing in this way. We're a retailer. We're a wholesaler. No, you define your business not by what you sell or the way you sell it. You define your business by who you serve. And so for us, digital marketer serves digital marketers. As long as somebody's a digital marketer, we're going to continue to serve that market. We hope they stick around. We hope they stick around forever. Is that reality? Of course not. But what's been neat to see is we've been around long enough that people have been in our community. They've left for whatever reason. Maybe they joined our community to because they were starting a business or something like that, or maybe they were at a company and the company was paying for it, and they got laid off, or they went to another company they didn't. But we're beginning to see people who were here and then they left come back to us, and they're excited, like, oh, we're so great, we're so glad that you're still here. So I have no doubt that people will come and people will go, but we're not going anywhere, and we want to just keep serving the community. I think that's the best way to approach membership.
We had another question. This one's from Teresa Oliver, and she is an accountant and bookkeeper. Wanted to know if there are any businesses that you've tried membership on that it did not work out.
We've gotten a little too where it can be difficult. So in consumer spaces, if people don't self-identify as a particular area, so we tried to build a membership around makeup and beauty, and it was difficult to get people to sign up for a premium membership that was around makeup and beauty, where it was primarily information-based, because kind of pretty much all women do something with makeup, and a lot of guys do something like makeup and beauty. So it's not like people walk around saying, I'm a makeup-y person, except for the people who are makeup artists. So more times than not, it's going to be easier to, and that's how we pivoted that particular property, right? So there are lots of examples in consumer space. So like the survival and preparedness market, for example, I've got a friend who built a very large community and wound up membership site and wound up actually selling it to NBC Universal in the golf space. And that's very much a consumer property, but people self-identify as a golfer. They didn't necessarily self-identify as a makeup enthusiast, right? So it's been in those areas, same like in the crafting space. Those are some areas where it was difficult, but like in the sewing space, people identify as a sewer. So what I would look at is there a magazine, or was there a magazine associated with that market? Generally, people buy magazines as a way to show and express their identity. So where you're tapping into someone's identity, generally, you can build membership around it. Where it's kind of a passive sort of hobby, it can be a little more difficult to do it. So,
another question, Paula Marie wanted to know is, how often is your content updated?
So digital marketing right now, something in the site is updated at least every week. I can tell you that's not necessary. Generally, if something's happening there once a month, it's fine. And if you have too much content going in there and you're telling people, oh, we did this and this and this, they'll start to feel guilty. So a lot of it depends on your price point. So if you're kind of that sub $50 price point, you're really at a breakage model. You're more like a gym membership. Gym memberships aren't going to call you if you don't show up for a couple weeks and make you feel guilty. A personal trainer will, right? So if you're an elite member, you better believe we're communicating the heck out of the different stuff we got going on. If we're in an execution cycle, because it's $295 a month, that's a significant investment. If you're a lab member, once a week, we're going to send out an update on here's all the things that happened this week that you might be interested in. Because there's lots of people who join lab. They might not go in for months, but they like that it's there if they need it. So I think that's where you have to decide. Are you kind of selling insurance? Are you selling something that it's you're worth paying for so that people can get it when they need it? Or are you selling something that if they're not using it, they're going to cancel? That's the difference between a consumption model membership and a breakage model membership. I'm not saying you should just ignore them. A lot of people have said, if you're in a breakage model, like sign them up, don't talk to them, don't change anything, hope they forget about it. That's just kind of dishonest. By kind of, I mean, it's totally dishonest. Don't do that. But I will tell you, most people overestimate the amount of updates they need to make. One a month is usually going to be good enough. We like to produce standalone marketable pieces of content every month for our members. So what that means is, in creating a new execution plan that we know our lab members are going to love, guess what? We also have something that can be a standalone entry point offer that can bring in more people. So one of the ways to feel good about updating your membership regularly is to make sure that it's something that could be splintered off and sold as that kind of entry point offer that we talked about in the outset.
That one's good. Did you have something, Neil?
Yeah, I've got actually two questions, but I will ask the one I want to really ask, which is, Ryan, you've got a really big team now. I think Jenna mentioned you've got over 120 people. So what's the one position that you really held on to for the longest that you just didn't want to outsource?
Yeah, so I mean, to be clear, we're 120 people across all of our portfolio companies. Digital marketers, about 50. So I just want to make sure to put that into perspective. So the one that really the one that I have held on to recently that I've let go of in the past is CEO. And it can be very, very, very common, I've found, for entrepreneurs who as they grow, they think themselves, I don't want to have to deal with all this marketing stuff. I just want to do the product. Or if they love marketing, I just want to do marketing. And I want to bring somebody in to run the company to do all the stuff that I don't want to do. It's one of the best ways, and I've tried this a couple of times, and it's always failed. If you really hate operations, then you can bring in an operations manager to help do that, but make sure they report to you. And don't be intimidated by that. Look, you're building a company. Yeah, there are people who are better at accounting and finance and some of the other aspects, but you shouldn't think that that you're less valuable because they're better at the business stuff. The last thing that I always give up as well is that turn loose of is marketing, because that's what I'm good at. But I wouldn't want to say now today, for example, a digital marketer, I do almost none of the marketing. We have a team, and the folks who are in marketing positions for the role that they do within that position, they're better than I am at the stuff they do. I like to think I'm probably still better overall, although that may be debatable at this point. But I do think you have to identify, what is your secret sauce? What's the thing that you do that's getting you this success? And usually it's going to come in the form of marketing, sales, or some type of product. That's kind of, and so that's going to be one of the last things that you're going to want to give away. But it doesn't mean that you don't get support still in that area. Just don't say, I love the product, or I love sales, or I love marketing. I want somebody to come in and run my entire company. Do that when you sell it. All right. Don't do that at the outset. Bring in support people. It's your company. Continue to run it. Continue to be responsible for it. Learn how to read, financial sheets. Like learn what a P&L is and a balance sheet and all, statement of cash flows. Like all these things that you think you shouldn't have to know because I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm the marketing person. I'm the product person. No, screw that. You're a business owner. You got to figure that stuff out.
Thank you. Jenna, I'll pass it back to you.
We had another question from Christina. Question for Ryan. So for digital marketer membership, how do you grow your audience and decide what content and courses you need to give your members? Do you do your own market research, beta groups, or how do you do that aspect?
Yeah, no, most of the content ideas come from our members asking questions within the community. So a lot of times we see people asking stuff, and that's why community is so critical. So they're asking questions, they're having discussions, and they'll say, hey, is there anything in Digital Marketer about this? And we go either, yep, here it is, or crap, no, but there will be soon. And so for us, content begins life. Premium content begins life usually as an office hours, because that can be done quickly. So for example, if something big happens, if there's a major change, we can gather whoever we need to gather, whether it's somebody within the company or one of our faculty members outside of the company, say, hey, can you be on an office hours call this Thursday? Because we do that every single week. Now, that office hour call, if it's well attended, we will then look to work with whoever the person is that did it. Our content team will to turn that into an execution plan, to turn that into a training, into a product. And that process can happen in as little as 2 weeks. But if it turns out that it wasn't as big a deal as we thought, then maybe we'll back burner it and produce it later on. But in general, the ideas are coming from our community. But we're also saying things. I mean, I'll see stuff like, hey, we have a gap here. We need to fill this area. It also, after a while, you're better off to update content than to produce new. Let's face it, for most of us, when you produce a membership site, the first 2 or 3 months, that's gonna be your best stuff. You've peaked, right? So that's when you're gonna need to go outside of here, and you're gonna need to get other folks to bring in their best, and then you need to start cycling back after probably 6, 9, definitely 12 months. And now, as opposed to releasing new, you're updating legacy. And don't people aren't like, oh, that's garbage. They appreciate that. They appreciate that you're continuing to do that. Don't let digital dust gather. That's a huge mistake that we made at Digital Marketer, was focusing on the new and forgetting about the fact that some of our most critical flagship premium pieces of content hadn't been updated in way too long.
Good to know. I don't want to keep you too long. Did you have any other questions, Neil?
Yeah, I do have one. So I know initially you said that you tried out by sending cookies and all that sorts of things, and that didn't quite work out for the stick rate. But have you also considered somehow going to the physical dimension of the digital training that you do? I know you're a digital marketer, of course, but perhaps adding in magazines for a higher level of subscription or some kind of box of books that people can get once a month. I mean, is that something you have ever thought about doing or you will do in future?
Yeah, so in most of our other markets, we do send out a monthly physical newsletter type thing, and we've absolutely seen that make a big difference. We don't at Digital Marketer, in part because we're stupid, and in part because every time we talk about it, and I realize, God, because the biggest thing that we have at Digital Marketer is 30% of our audience is outside of the US. So to ship them something physical dramatically changes our gross margins. And so many other things that we implemented did such a good job reducing churn rates that while I would love to just do it for the sake of doing it, because I think our members would appreciate it, like, I don't know how much more revenue it's going to generate, how much it's going to impact churn, but I know for a fact that it works, and I have no doubt whatsoever that if we did it, digital market would be a good thing. It's something that we talk about a lot, and after you calling me out publicly like this, it's something I'm probably going to have to reconsider again, because it matters. Even being digital marketer, it matters. We know if we get people to an event, for example, they generally stay forever, right? They stay forever. There's no substitute for physical, even in a digital world. I think especially in a digital world. So sending people physical things. Books, by the way, are a fantastic gift at the higher ticket. They're expensive. Cookies are cheaper, but books can be really, really good for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, Ryan. And I think I'm going to see you August with Brian. I'm going to come to that one.
Very fun. We'll look forward to it. Yeah, thanks so much for having me. This was a really fun conversation. And I would encourage everybody who's out there, if you're on the fence, should I do some type of membership model? Again, I'll just restate what I said before. If you don't have a membership component in your business, then you are selling a product, and you're likely selling a commodity, which is your competitor is Amazon, and you really don't want Amazon to be your competitor. They're eating the planet. But Amazon, they're not in the vertical subscription, membership business. I don't really see them doing that. So I think for a while, at least until Amazon decides that they want to splinter and just gobble all of us up, I think this is our best shot right now. So get in the membership game.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. We'll see you at Traffic Conversion next year.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye. Great. Jenna, can I just say I'm a little bit starstruck still? I was a little bit worried.
I'm a little straight for too long.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we started this call, everyone, I just said to Jenna, hey, you ask the questions. Like, I don't know, Ryan, I don't want to fumble with my questions, right? And she was like, you can do it. It's all right. And I'm like, whew, okay, all right. That was good.